What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. This is, of course, the show you can come to every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss anything and everything Corvette. So, rumors, leaks, maintenance items, ownership experiences. If it's Corvette related, we are going to talk about it on this channel, and tonight is no exception. We're going to talk about all kinds of Corvette stuff. So, welcome back. Thanks for pressing play. Thanks for joining us. I, of course, see a bunch of the same names here, and that's awesome. You guys have been super supportive and definitely appreciate you, each and every one of you guys. So tonight we are greeted with Brandon. David, unfortunately, had something pop up. He's not going to be able to make it in here tonight, so it's just Brandon for tonight. But that's okay. We can still have Corvette conversation because we all have Corvettes here. So anyway, yeah, it looks like hanging with Shane's in the house. That's great to see you, Shane. How you doing, man? It looks like he's been working a bunch, so nice to see you. Right off the bat, he's right back to his old self. He's telling on you guys for thumbs ups. So, guys, smash the thumbs up. Do not disappoint Shane. He's back in here for the first time in a couple weeks. Let's hit the 200 number for him. Let's do it.
It's going to happen, especially with Shane being back. I just now forgot to hit mine, so I just
nice.
He just reminded me.
All right, so guys, what we're going to do right off the bat here, we're going to actually toss this over to Joe in a second because he's got some updates for the HPO Vet Exchange. And we are, thanks to Professor Corvette, we are going to discuss a little bit of Carlisle tonight. So, oh, look at this. 8 months. Robert Brunn has been a member for 8 months. Look at that. Look at that. Love to see it, guys. Anyway, here comes Joe. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what has changed with the HPO Vet Exchange stuff. So take it away, Joe.
Thank you, Justin. Hello, everybody. Hello, Brandon.
Hey, Joe.
Updates. So we have the 2023 gorgeous Red Mist Z06 now officially sold, and it's on its way to its new owner. This was a California car. So HPO Vet Exchange is truly now coast to coast in completed sales, having from PA, Texas, all the way out to California. So we're very proud to share with all of you that we absolutely do have a national reach. We have one other car for sale at the moment. It's the 1998 C5 custom black build by Vet Doctors under consultation from the racing legend, John Lingenfelder. The car, as mentioned, has been dynoed at 702 horsepower and 775 pounds of torque at the rear wheels. In fact, the car runs the quarter mile in a time faster than, yes, a 2025 Z06. So that's pretty damn impressive. There are just too many features to walk through, but they are all well documented on the site. I urge you to go there if you have not yet and check out the car either for yourself or somebody that you know who absolutely is interested in winning car shows. This car has over 100 plus winning trophies and has been pampered very, very much over the last 30 years by the owner. It's available at $39,900, but feel free to email me at the site, and if you have a reasonable offer, I certainly will share it with the seller.
Great. Guys, I do have a video I wanted to play. The owner of the Red Mist C8Z06 actually took a video of it as it was driving onto the trailer and being sent off to the buyer. And I feel like this is one of those things that, none of us really love to see, but at the same time, it's a good thing to see whenever you're trying to sell your car. It's like a, bittersweet kind of thing. So here's an interesting video of this thing getting loaded up.
What I'm always amazed at, Justin, are the people's heads sticking out the window going up the ramp, and I'm always wondering if they're going to duck their head back in time before they hit the side rail.
Good thing they didn't have the throttle controller set on like.
Yeah, that would have popped it right off.
that would have been real bad.
Very true.
All right, so I think you guys get the point here, but ultimately it was nice to see the car like officially go. So we didn't have that car listed very long either, maybe 2 weeks. These cars are going relatively quickly. So if you guys, again, if you have a car you want to sell, Or if you're looking for a very specific car, feel free to go to horsepowerobsessed.com. And that would be this website right here. So Horsepower Obsessed, right there in the top middle is HPO Vet Exchange. Click on that, and you're going to get all of the information here. But most importantly, the email address right there is the one you're going to want to send your inquiry to. So whether you're looking for a specific spec Corvette or you want to sell yours, let us know. We might be able to find you one, and we definitely will be able to find you a buyer. So that's pretty much it. That's the update for HPO Vet Exchange. The only other thing we were going to talk about, like Professor Corvette said, we are going to discuss Corvettes at Carlisle tonight. We're going to actually be discussing that all week because Solar Performance is going to be in the booth with me at Corvettes at Carlisle. Now, what that means for you is we're going to have, obviously Joe will be there, so if you want to meet the man, the myth, the legend himself, come to Carlisle. He'll be at my booth. We're also going to have some Solar Performance products. So between throttle bodies and throttle controllers, we will have them at the show for purchase. And if you want to pre-purchase these items, there's actually a little bit of a discount involved. So I'm going to let Joe talk to you about the specifics, but come check us out at Carlisle if you want to get some Solar Performance products. So Joe, tell us how this is all going to work.
Tell them what they've won, Justin. Well, thank you. And thanks to everybody tonight, and for all of you that will be going to Carlisle August 21st to the 23rd. We were very humbled by the invitation of Justin back in December to invite us to share this year an opportunity with him at his booth. Last year was our first year at Carlisle. It was a blowout for us. We had a great time, and we did really, really well on product as well. So we're looking forward to equally, if not a better year with Justin and the team there. So as Justin mentioned, we are doing a sort of pre-sale, pre-order campaign before we even get to the month of August. So what we're going to be doing is really threefold. One, we are going to be taking pre-sale orders whereby you can book now, effective today. You can book a install either for throttle controllers or throttle bodies that we will install at Carlisle for you. With respect to the throttle bodies, that will be for C6 and C7 only, because most of you are aware to do the install on a C8, you've got to take the whole back bumper apart, and that's just a little bit too much to do in the time that we'll have to do that in any sort of volume. So again, throttle bodies C6, C7. We will have throttle controllers for C6, C7, and C8. All of those three are fair game for install. Through this pre-show special, we are offering free shipping for orders placed now. We will ship them to your address of preference before the show. You can order them right on the number I'm going to be giving you in a moment. Speak to Tiffany live. Tell her you're with Horsepower Obsessed. She will help you pick the right controller and or throttle body if you need any assistance with that. If you already know what you'll need, you can just let her know. She can take the point of sale right over the phone with you through credit card. And you can also book your install should you want it to be installed, at the show. We are also, as part of that, giving you a free 3-year extended warranty as part of the pre-show special as well. The product comes with a 1-year full guarantee on all our products. You'll automatically receive an extra 2 years for a free 3-year extended warranty as part of the pre-show. And with respect to installation, we are doing sort of a show price blowout whereby we will install a throttle controller for $20. I think if you go to your local shop, you'll probably pay anywhere from $75 to $100, I would say, readily or frankly minimum. If you ask them to do a throttle body for you on a C6 or C7, it can probably range anywhere from $100 to $150, depending on what they charge, their hourly rate. A throttle body will only be $40 at the show. And if you buy both products, we'll install both for $50. So between free shipping, those install prices I just quoted you, and then also getting a free 3-year extended warranty, which normally sells on the site for $19.99 if you upgrade to the 3-year for the throttle controller, or the throttle body 3-year warranty is $29.99. You're receiving both of those free shipping, and then the discounted install rates if you decide to go that route. The number you will call between now and August 1st is 251-468-9786. Justin will put that in the notes. Just simply ask for Tiffany, or just leave a message and she'll be real good about getting back to you. And you can do everything in a single phone call in terms of the purchase, as well as booking your day and time. So when you get there, you're all set. You just simply bring whatever you've purchased with you, walk it over to Justin's booth that we'll be in, and we'll have the installer all teed up and ready to go on time.
All right, so it was 251-468. What was the last four, Joe?
9786.
All right, I'm putting that in the chat now, guys. Give that number a call. They're going to know at that point that you saw this on the Horsepower Obsessed YouTube channel, so you don't have to mention that. But once you call them, just let them know what it is you want to pre-order, and if you want it installed, they'll be able to sign you up. And it's going to be awesome, guys. So worst case scenario, it looks like we already got Dan Seawolf Z06 in there, so he's probably going to want to get some things. So, but best case, come out, hang out, say hi to Joe, say hi to me, Brandon, David, we'll all be there. You can come out and look at the products. They'll be set up as well at the booth, and you can purchase them there. Even if you don't want to have them installed, you don't have to, but we'll save you a little bit of trouble. So tonight and the entire month of July is obviously sponsored by Solar Performance. So we're going to talk a lot about Carlisle, a lot about this setup, but most importantly, we're going to be giving away a throttle body tonight. And we're going to be giving away something each week in the month of July. And at the end of July, we're also giving away that new C8 8-less coupe window design. So we started this last week. And if you guys are interested in that, we're going to talk about the specifics of that in a minute. But for now, we're going to give away a throttle body tonight for a C6, a C7, or a C8 Corvette, not including the C8 Z06. So anything between C6, C7, and C8, just not the Z06. If you have one of those cars and you want to win, it's the same as usual. $10 is a donation, $50 or more, double entries. You can use the pinned link in the chat up the top for Venmo, or you can send it right through the super chat right here on YouTube. So if you want to get entered in on this, and I suggest you do, a ported throttle body for those cars, you could potentially win it for $10 and save yourself $400 or $500. But anyway, I think that's going to be it. So we're gonna wish Joe a safe travel home from his computer, of course. So just click X. It's not too hard. But yeah, Joe, we'll see you on the 24th, right?
Actually, I think it's 28th, right?
28th. What?
Yep.
Yeah, at the end of this month, Joe will be on here full time to answer all kinds of questions again, as usual, guys. So until then, Joe, take it easy.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Joe, don't forget, please get the footage of the ZR1 if you can, as much as you can of your car.
You got it. Thank you, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right. So, Lewis, we actually are going to be doing a throttle controller giveaway next Monday night. So tonight will be a throttle body. Next Monday night will be a throttle controller. Then the following Monday night will be another throttle controller. And then the following will be the throttle bodies, including the C8 Z06. So if you have a C8 Z06, you can still win that. That will be at the end of this month. So in the meantime, for tonight is a throttle body only. So C6, C7, or C8, just not the C8 Z06. Any other car, though, in that lineup is completely covered. So, guys, smash the thumbs up button for me. We're going to be talking a lot about the Corvette ZR1 and some just random Corvette knowledge here tonight. And like I said, we got Brandon here with us, so he's going to drop all of his knowledge on us as far as some of the stuff he's been doing with weight savings on his C8. We know, I'm sure you guys have all been following his journey. But most recently, I was actually I forgot to send it to you. That's why. I was disappointed when I saw your video that clip wasn't put in there. That's why I was supposed to send it to you.
Yeah, I thought about asking you about it, but then I was like, I don't want to bug them. So
no, you should have. I totally forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
So anyway, if you watched his video where he just recently put on the RSC, the rear window surround carbon fiber pieces, it saved 2 pounds. And actually, with the lower window piece too, I think it was almost 2.5 pounds if you would have done that too. But it is a lot of work to do it. In my video, whenever I did it, I said that, you know, you were going to save 2.5 pounds or whatever from doing this, but no one was really going to do it for that reason. And then Brandon did it for that exact reason.
That was literally that. Well, I mean, there was an aesthetic reason, but predominantly it was about the weights. I mean,
Sure.
that was the whole reason I went about it.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything going to carbon fiber is all about the weights more so than the looks, but it is a plus for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that you can't look at the RSC carbon fiber and be like, oh no, I don't like that. You know, I mean, it looks good.
Well, not only that, I thought it was going to take a little longer than it did. I mean, I watched your video before doing it probably once or twice. There wasn't a lot on the RC stuff as far as that. I saw that one that you did, but I couldn't tell how long it was really going to take. To me, it looked like I thought in my mind it was going to take a lot longer, but it actually wasn't bad at all. It was a lot easier, especially with instructions and everything already there, so it was pretty easy. So.
Sure. Yeah, it's the hardest part of that was the part that's underneath the glass. If it wasn't for that, and I was watching on your video when you were starting to remove the camera, the rear view camera for the mirror.
Yeah. That
takes a lot more effort than you would think to pop those clips loose.
I was actually scared I was going to break the factory piece, the amount of force it did. So I actually had to pause the camera and go and like kind of pull on it because I was like, I don't want to break this thing. And then finally, once you do that first little pop, then the rest of it's all easy peasy. But it's getting to the force for the first one. So.
Steven asks Joe if he tested the throttle controller in a ZR1. I don't think he has put it on there yet. Typically, you don't have to do this, but he does wait until he hits the 500-mile mark before he puts that stuff on, just in case. So I know he's not at 500 miles yet, so I don't think he's tested that yet, Steven. Yeah, so guys, if you haven't seen, there's been some like massive flooding happening in Texas, and definitely very sad situation. If you haven't seen it, it's crazy. Some of the videos I'm seeing are like just absolutely nuts. The water rose like 25 feet or something overnight, like just really crazy stuff. So definitely, if anybody out there has been affected, it sounds like hopefully Texas Clay, hopefully you have not been touched by any of that, but anybody who has, I mean, definitely thoughts and prayers for those people, because it looks wild. Yeah, 30 feet in 45 minutes. Man, that's insane.
I mean, most of our houses, if you go 30 feet, it's going to engulf pretty much anybody who lives just about anywhere if it goes up 30 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's huge.
Yeah, that's not
that's what, 3 stories? You're going to rise 3 stories of water
much,
in a matter of 45 minutes?
Yeah, that's insane. Rowley Roofer says, remind me how much the throttle bodies and pedal commander. Throttle bodies for the C6, C7, and C8 minus the Z06. Like I said, this one will not include the Z06 tonight, but that will be included at the end of the month. They're roughly $500 for a ported throttle body, and they make a big difference, guys. When you port a throttle body on even just a otherwise stock car, you do notice the difference. We just recently did it on Dana's C7 Z06, and it was interesting watching his reaction to it, because he 100% could tell the difference, and he was so thrilled with it that he didn't think that he should even do the throttle controller, because he already liked the way it was with the ported throttle body. And I told him, I said the same thing whenever I did mine. Then you add the ported throttle body and it somehow, or the ported, the throttle controller on top of the ported throttle body, and somehow it's even better. So
I feel like you have to do both, just because for one, the cost for $200, I mean, there's nothing cheaper than you can do the car. And second of all, the throttle body itself does do a lot, but the fact that you can customize how much it's doing with the throttle controller, I think both things combined is the way to go about it personally. If you're only going to do one, and there's only going to do one thing, then me personally, I would probably do the throttle body if you could only do one. But for the most part, for $200, there's no reason not to do both, and that's how I would go about it, because obviously I've got both of mine too. So
I would totally agree. I think the throttle body personally is the first thing I would do, and I would also do them in steps, because it's nice to feel the difference that each one makes and how they're different. The thing I love the most about the throttle controller is that you can literally, there's so much customization available that you can make it however you want it. If you want it super sensitive, you can do that. If you want it, for some reason, if you want it to be even less sensitive than stock, you can do that too. Like it literally is whatever you want it to be. And I think that's fantastic. But again, C6, C7, C8, other than the Z06 throttle body giveaway, you can win it tonight, guys. Donations of $10 will get you 1 entry. Donations of $50 will get you double entries. Now, where things are going to get interesting is if you like that C8 Corvette rear glass difference that we were doing. I don't know if you guys saw it last Monday night. We were giving away the 8-list design rear glass for the C8 Corvette. I'm trying to pull up a picture of it here, and it is worth about $1,500, even though for some reason it says 0 on Paragons right now. It's a $1,500 item, and what you can do here is you can win it again for the same donations. But what we're going to do, I'm going to include everybody who's donating from this point till the end of the month. I'm going to include you in the 8-list giveaway as well. So if you donate for the throttle body, and even if you don't win it, you're still going to be in there for the end of the month whenever I run the giveaway for this too. So hopefully that makes sense. If you donate at all during this month, you'll be in the running for that particular solar performance giveaway. And at the end of the month, even if you didn't win, you'll still have a chance to win this for the same amount that you donated. So that's that, guys. Like I said,
see Professor Corvette's comment asking about the ring times. I think that's probably like I was asking you earlier, trying to figure out what's going on. I think we all thought that was going to come soon.
I would have
July 4th. I
would have put money on it that it was coming last week, but there's almost no way that we don't get it this week. We know they got a time. They definitely got a time. They literally talked about it on Instagram. They got a time. So when we're going to get that time though, I would have
1 time or 3 times. Did they get a Z06 repeat time and the X and the ZR1?
They didn't say, but all of those cars were over there, so I would speculate we should get at least 2. I would imagine we would get at least a ZR1 and a ZR1X. Hopefully also a Z06, because they had all those cars there. We should get official times with them because they were running them anyway. So
do you think they'll spread them out on the release, or they're just going to put them all out one day? You'll have all 3 times, and then they're like, holy crap. Because to me, if I'm GM, I'm going to release the ZR1 time because I think that's going to be the best. Then I'm going to release the ZR1X time. And then last, I would release the Z06 because I think it's old news, but it's kind of old news on their part.
Right now, I think they're going to release the ZR1X time first because that's like the new hotness. Then eventually we'll get the ZR1 time, and eventually they'll come up with some new push for the Z06, and that's when you'll get the time for that too. Texas Clay says, Justin, are we sure the Z06 is at the ring? I guess not. Because the car that looks like a Z06, it says Z06 on it, it could potentially be what would be ultimately the Z06X if such a thing is going to exist. It could be that. So, unfortunately, GM has been very, 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 very tight-lipped about any kind of new thing coming. Like even the ZR1X, when that came out, there was no leaks prior to that. So it's like they've been very tight-lipped about all of it, and it's been really really interesting to get any information. Like normally we're seeing leaks and stuff, but now there's nothing. So I would never say I'm sure of any of this stuff, but it looked like a Z06 to me. I'll tell you that much. Guys, looks like we have 79 thumbs ups. Keep going with the thumbs up, guys. Let's get to 100 here real quick. Shane is in the house today. We want to make him happy. We want to get to those 200 by 8:30. So looks like we just got a donation from John. So again, guys, get in there to win those that Porta throttle body. That's what John's after.
You see this week, Justin, where the Mustang GTD deliveries are happening? I think there was, at least on the socials, it looked like a few people are starting to get their cars.
That's
which
interesting.
Is pretty exciting. Yeah. So we should start seeing them on the street. So I'm excited to see like 60 to 130 footage, 0 to 60 times, draggy stuff, all that stuff.
It's going to take a very specific person to actually put that thing on the street. With how much that thing costs, most of these people are going to buy it and put it in a garage.
I don't know. I feel like there's going to be those guys that are just going to want to flaunt it. Like the guys in Florida
Oh
that are
yeah.
sitting in Miami, Orlando, they're going to be the ones like just out there ripping on it. I mean, that's what you would do, right? I mean, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be
I
driving
wouldn't.
that thing like crazy.
It's almost impossible to buy the car and not do that. But like
Yeah.
some of these people, especially the people who got in early on the Ford GTs, they can see the value in this car. Like the Ford
Yeah.
GT, I think when it came out, I want to say it was either $500,000 or $600,000. You can't touch those now for under $1 million. Like they have appreciated so much in value that it's just you're not going to want to drive it.
That's a good point because I'm the newest GT. I don't think I've ever actually seen one in person, like at a car show or anything. I don't think I've actually ever seen one other than on a video online. Have you seen one in person?
I've seen a
Yeah,
couple.
I don't think I've seen one. Have you? Okay, I don't think I've seen one.
Well, Blackout has done PPF and stuff on a couple different. One of them was one of the carbon series, which was like the most ridiculous car I've ever seen. It's literally the whole thing's carbon fiber.
And that was a factory option, or is that aftermarket? Oh,
That's
wow.
factory. Yeah, like every panel is carbon fiber. And it's interesting because when you PPF carbon fiber, carbon fiber hides imperfections really well because of the pattern. It kind of makes it almost invisible. So it's super easy to PPF a piece of carbon fiber, assuming.
Well, what does the matte do to the carbon fiber if they do like a matte PPF on it? Would just make it look like just dull it.
Yeah, like a dry carbon almost.
Okay, that's probably a cool look.
Yeah, I mean, I would no way would I do that on carbon. I'd keep that gloss because it looked awesome. Yeah, Ralph Cruz. I asked this question too. If the ZR1X is 1,250 horsepower, he's wondering how high the horsepower would go for the C9 ZR1. And that's the thing is like after they announced the ZR1X at 1,250 horsepower, I asked myself, just like in my head, I was like, where do we go from here? Like we're probably 4 to 5 years away from the C8 Corvette run being over. And we've already given out the highest horsepower Corvette ever by a lot. Where do we go from here? Like,
lighter.
And that's the only thing I can think is that they literally start stripping the weight out. They literally start making more and more of the car out of carbon fiber or some sort of lightweight material. That's really it. I don't see where else you go because you can't just keep loading horsepower into it and you'll have a 2,000 horsepower car that weighs 5,800 pounds and doesn't handle it all. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the path. Just like you said last week that I was on when we talked about the ZR1 versus ZR1X times. I still, my gut is still telling me the ZR1 is going to do better at the ring, and I think that few extra 100 pounds is going to be the difference. And for that reason, I think that's where weight's going to have to go. I mean, like you said, 1,250 horsepower to all four wheels. You get to a point. I feel like 1,500 horsepower has got to be the cutoff.
Yeah.
To where at that point,
it's not
there's
usable.
no way you're going to hook that up.
Right.
It's just not. You can't use it. And it's not, honestly, it's dangerous at that point. So then you just got to focus on chassis and weight.
Yeah.
Because we're there on the engine part.
I mean, Jim Merrow in our video, he already discussed the fact that he thinks the ZR1 will be faster at the ring. The odds of the battery and the motor for the ZR1X lasting the entire ring, very, very minimal. So at that point, that battery dies. You're just throwing around a couple extra, 100, 200 pounds, whatever it ends up being. And that's just going to slow you down. So
yeah,
it's the ZR1 is most likely going to be, and actually Josh Holder said this at the National Corvette Museum. He said the ZR1 will be faster than the ZR1X around certain tracks. It depends on the size of the track and the complexity, the turns, all that stuff.
The only thing I will say that might be an outlier that I don't really know is their regen, like how aggressive the regen is and how much quicker that allows the brakes to be able to stop with the regen combined. So in theory, if the regen is aggressive enough, then maybe the thing stops better than a ZR1, even at the weight because of the regen pulling, even though you're staying contact paths, I guess, between the front and the rear tires. But in theory, if those things are equal and the brakes at all in the ZR1 are subpar and to be able to lock those down with ABS, there's a scenario where the regen could stop the car quicker, even at the additional weight. But I don't know that because I don't see that with the Tesla. Teslas don't do that. Like my Tesla does not stop. Like it's slow. So I haven't seen that in fruition, but in theory, I could see how that could be a thing. I don't know.
The ZR1X is going to have the 10-piston calipers as well, so it's definitely going to stop better. But the biggest thing to remember, even if it is stopping better, and even if the regen's helping it stop better, if the regen is not strong enough to keep that motor, the battery for that motor charged the entire time, at some point you're throwing around an extra 300 pounds for nothing. And even if the brakes are better, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be enough of a difference to make up that time. So, and that I'm assuming that it's not going to be able to keep that motor or the battery charged. I could be wrong, could absolutely be wrong, but assuming it doesn't, there's no way that will be faster around the ring than the ZR1. Even with the extra power, it's just not going to happen. But all right, guys, looks like we are at 97 thumbs ups currently. Rally Roofer says, do you really think the C8 is going to continue past 2026? I can't see it happening because so far the C8 has not proven to be the greatest body style and lots of sales. Am I wrong? I would say you're wrong. You know, these are of course my opinions. I don't know when the C8 will end its run, but I personally think it's way too early to end the run for the C8 in 26. I would say it goes to at least 29.
And I agree with that. And also, Justin, too, with the previous history, when they change the interior, you get another 3 or 4 years out of the car. Every time they've done that historically. They're not going to just do that for 1 year.
Right. This kind of thing is usually what they call a mid-life refresh. So if this is the middle of the life, then we got another 5 years. So it'll be 2030 before we would see a C9. Now, that's not to say they're not testing the C9 right now. I bet you they are. And they could be testing a C9. I think you actually mentioned this earlier, Brandon. They could be testing a C9 in a C8 Z06 or C8 ZR1 body. We would have no idea because odds are very good. In fact, I'd put money on this, that the C9 Corvette is going to be, of course, a mid-engine setup, and it's going to look very similar to the C8 as far as, you know, the mid-engine architecture, with probably a slightly different front and slightly different rear bumper. For the most part, the car is going to look very similar, just the same way that the C5 to the C6 to the C7 looked fairly similar. So keep that in mind. And Steven, this is a great point. He said, you know, whenever I'm talking about the ZR1 ZR1X hybrid battery dying on the ring, it's possible GM programs a special ring mode in for larger tracks where somehow it you know, charges more efficiently or decharges less around certain aspects of the track. It is possible for GM to do something like that. So I don't want to say that without a doubt that the ZR1X is going to be smaller or slower than the ZR1. I'm saying if that battery dies on that track, there is no doubt at that point it would be slower. But will it die? Maybe GM has come up with some really interesting way to keep it charged. Rally Roofer says he heard of a new V8 motor for GM. Yeah, GM has been pretty vocal about that with, you know, sticking with the internal combustion engine V8 for the future, which means the C9 Corvette will definitely be an internal combustion engine. Whether or not they continue to add the hybrid, performance hybrid aspects to it, we'll wait and see on that one. But odds are very good the C9 will also be a V8 gas-powered car.
Well, not only that, the big beautiful bill, since it's now passed with the CAFE standards and the credits and those kind of things, I think most automakers are going to start gearing back towards that way anyway, especially with the EV tax credit going away. So that's a good look, assuming that was the original plan for the C9 for GM to keep it ICE, at least a hybrid setup. I think this is good news for, I think, most vet buyers, at least for the next 4 or 5 years. Not that I don't want to get political, but you know, not that I'm a huge fan of that whole thing, but you know, given that part of it, I am a fan of. So,
yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of allowing us to make our own choices. If you want to buy an electric car, buy an electric car, but don't force me to buy an electric car. That's all there is. I don't want to be forced to buy either side. Let me buy what I want to buy. Yeah. Supercar Ranch said that he is safe in Texas as well, which is good. That's nice to hear. I did mention earlier that you know, that the floods are happening down there, and that's a horrible thing to see. Even on the videos, it's insane to see some of that stuff that's happening. But Supercar Ranch is safe. Texas Clay is safe. It looks like. So at least those two. I'm not sure if I know. I'm actually certain I know more than that live in Texas. I talked to Steve, Protective Dad Pranks, earlier today. He didn't say anything about it. So I think he's fine too. He's in an area that was not touched by the flooding, so he's definitely okay. Jason, front seat driver, would be the same. He's in an area that wasn't touched. So at least off the top of my head, the people I know from Texas were not affected, which is a great thing, but still terrible that it happened at all. What was this?
And that's, they could, the only thing I could think of that they could do is, since they did the interior this year, it's possible that they could do the exterior changes within the next couple of years, but keep it. See, or I can't imagine they would call it a C9 without an actual chassis change.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But
so the only thing I could think that they would do is maybe just change the exterior, like 27 or something, mildly.
Very mildly.
But that's a stretch. But that's kind of a stretch.
I don't think we'll see an exterior change outside of obviously new models, because at this point there's still a pretty good chance that the Grand Sport's coming, and possibly even a Zora after all of this. There's at least 2 more models that I could see coming. Potentially 3 if they decide to give us a Z06X, which I'm still kind of on the fence on whether or not that would happen. I could give you reasons why I don't think they will, and I can give you reasons why I think they will. So again, we're kind of split 50-50 on whether or not something like that's going to happen. But Carlos, New Horizon C8, he's also from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's all good, including Jason and Steve. So that's good. That's great. That's great news, guys. So anyway, guys, we are, as of right now, only 2 entries for this throttle body giveaway tonight, guys. If you want to get in on that, $10 is an entry, $50 or more is double entry. So as of right now, there's 2 people entered. You stand a pretty good chance of winning if you throw some donations in there. So check out that pinned link at the top of the chat. That's for Venmo, or you can send it right through the super chat here. And either way, you're going to get entered.
And Justin, too, correct me if I'm wrong, they'll be able to pick, like, say they have a single throttle body C7, they'll be able to pick the millimeter they want. Like, it's not like they just have to get, they can pick any of the ones they offer with an adapter plate, whatever that might be. They could pick
anything from the C6 up to the C8 E-Ray, whatever throttle body you want on their website, regardless of size, as long as it's a C6 up to the C8 E-Ray, not including the Z06, you're good to go. So yeah, you can choose whichever one you want. And like for Dana's, we chose on his C7 Z06, we chose a 95 millimeter throttle body, which was like insane.
Big.
Like, that's very big, because the stock one looked like at most was an 87. I haven't verified, but the 95 millimeter throttle body on the C7 Z06 was massively bigger than the stock one, to the point where we struggled off camera to get the intake tube onto the mouth of that throttle body because it was that much bigger. It was really a tight fit. We had to put like a little ring of oil in there to work it on there, because it was, at one point I thought we weren't going to be able to get it on there. Like it was that tight. Yeah, guys, looks like 108 thumbs ups. Keep smashing those thumbs ups. We got 150 people in here watching. Smash the thumbs up. Let's get some of these entries rolling, guys. Right now, there's only 2 entries. If you want to win this throttle body, yeah, Texas Clay said the stock was 87. So that's 8 millimeter difference. That's pretty substantial. David says, watching from Kissimmee, Florida. I shared my ZR1 video at Drive Shack to your Facebook page. Awesome car. Very awesome car. That's awesome, man. So yeah, Professor Corvette wanted to talk a little bit about Carlisle. Like I said, Solar Performance will be at my booth. I'll be at the same place I always am, right beside AWE. I'll be sandwiched in between basically AWE and then the Chevrolet booth on the other side. Brandon and David will be right behind me. RSC will be there as well. So Bill from RSC will have his car there, so you'll be able to see all the carbon fiber parts that they offer, be able to talk to him as well. Usually we do dinners. We'll go out and have something nice after the show every day. So we'll be there obviously Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I'm usually there on Sunday as well. But or is this, no, Sunday's not Sunday I'll be heading home, but I stay overnight to Sunday and I leave Sunday. But yeah, we'll do nightly dinners, Professor Corvette, just like we did down at the Bash. And actually, how weird is that? We talked about this off camera last week, but the names are back showing correctly here on my end. So very interesting. Whatever YouTube did changed it back now. So
Justin, did you hear, is AW doing installs again this year?
I don't think so. So that was one thing. I don't know if this is official yet, but they were talking to me about how apparently Carlisle doesn't want them doing exhaust installs anymore, but they're working on something kind of cool to coincide with Carlisle. So stay tuned for that.
Is it because of the lift failures? Is that why?
They didn't say. I don't know what the exact specifics are, but I know they are working around some problem to make it so they can still kind of do exhaust installs. So stay tuned for that, because I should have some better answer for that here pretty soon. Brad says, "Pimp the giveaway again." All right, you don't have to ask me twice, man. So Solar Performance is the sponsor for July. Tonight we are giving away a ported throttle body for a C6, C7, or C8 Corvette, excluding the C8 Z06. That will be included at the end of this month. So I know, obviously, Brad, you have a Z06. So if you want a Z06 ported throttle body, you'd wait until the end of this month to enter for that giveaway. For now, C6, C7, C8, up to E-Ray. Any one of the ported throttle body options on their website, you can win tonight. And we will be doing a drawing tonight. If you get, we will say we get 10 entries tonight. Only one guy wins. The other 9 entries will still carry over to the end of this month for the C8 Corvette 8-less glass design that I was giving away last week. That is the coupe different design rear glass here. So you will be entered to win this, even if you're trying to get the Solar Performance, but you don't win that. Your entry will carry over for this.
Justin, do you have any in with that company, that 8-less company, with like the people that made that? The reason I ask is I feel like that product, especially if they offered it without the scoops, a lot of people would want just to be able to do the split window part. It's not necessarily split down the middle, but just a split window part for the heat part, just for weight and those kind of things.
I don't know anybody there, unfortunately. Even over at Paragon, for some reason that product is showing $0, so that usually means they're out of stock. All right, so Charles is in for another $100. That means Charles is leading the pack here. We've got 2 entries, and Charles has 51 of them. So there's only 2.
Charles about a shoe in now.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's only 2 entries. He's got half the pie by himself. So if no one else donates at all, Charles, you're pretty much guaranteed to win that. But yeah. Tyler says, "Has anyone heard about the 2026 configurator going live?" As of now, no. I've not heard anything about it, but we really do need that to happen soon, because there probably will be new options, and we need to know the pricing of these things. So Professor Corvette says that the configurator should go live in about a month, assuming there's no delays or constraints. You know how GM is with that. Yeah. Oh, Kevin Reynolds says he's leading now. Yes, he is. So Kevin just donated.
Kevin, get in.
Kevin donated. Man. Let's see. Yep.
Isn't it crazy how the competitive vibe?
Oh my God!
It takes that one spark, and somebody's like, "You're not getting that."
Yeah, I don't even want the thing. I just don't want him to win.
It's mine.
Yeah, that's funny.
We're all like that to some degree, you know.
So Kevin,
if we weren't, we wouldn't drive Corvettes, you know.
Oh yeah. Being competitive is part of life. Kevin Horan is in for 2 entries. Kevin Reynolds is in for 10-30 entries. So
it's heating up. Smoke coming off the wheel
John
right now.
Perkins, I did get him in. So
hey, to answer Bill's question, he made a comment earlier asking about the Borla attack. I don't know anything official. I'd heard through the grapevine that there was some heat issues that they were solving. That's why we haven't seen that attack. That's what I'd heard through the grapevine.
Because was that the official C8
massive though? Yeah, not the one that they had through GM that you could get through 06, like the one that had all the massive pipes that were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. The attack, like the real loud one.
Yep.
I'd heard that there was heat things with the diffusers and stuff, and they were working around a solution. But this is not factual. This is all rumors. So just keep in mind, I don't know anybody at Borla. The last I'd heard, that's why we haven't seen that, because we were supposed to have seen it this year already. I thought like the beginning of the year, and I haven't seen anything since then. So I think that's been the biggest holdup, is something to do with the heat.
That makes sense. I thought that whenever I saw that design initially, I thought they were going to have problems with that.
Can you imagine with the carbon fiber rear diffuser, Justin, like with that setup?
You know what's? I know you asked me about it before with the RSC carbon fiber rear diffuser. Even with my AWE exhaust, which really puts
that's a big setup.
The mufflers right there. Not any single issue with that thing at all. And I mean, even whenever I was swapping it over to the new Z07 bumper, there's nothing broken, nothing discolored. It's just, like I said, RSC is a cut above your typical quality stuff. So they think about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Corvette, keep up the amazing work, Justin. Also, I got a job. Nice. Good for you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Carlos says they delayed it by a bit. It was supposed to be beginning of the year. The thing is about that, because it's an OEM offering, even though it's not made by Chevy, it's an OEM offering. It's guaranteed, number one, it's going to be heavier than any of the aftermarket ones, and it's going to probably flow less because they still have to meet some sort of EPA numbers. Whereas at fully aftermarket, like Corsa, AWE, if they're full aftermarket systems, that doesn't matter as much. Yeah. So guys, let's jump into while we're waiting here though, make sure you guys are keeping in mind you want to get in on this entry for the throttle body, because that ends tonight. I will be giving away a ported throttle body tonight for a C6, C7, or C8 up to an E-Ray. So make sure you get in on that giveaway, guys. $10 is an entry, $50 or more, double entries. And we're going to talk about this $500,000 C8 Corvette ZR1. Brandon, have you seen this yet?
I saw on socials. And
So
whenever you get
stupid.
done talking about it, I do have a question for the members, see what their opinion is.
Okay. All right, so here it is, guys. This is over at the Corvette Blogger. A California Chevy dealer is asking $500,000 for their 2025 Corvette ZR1. In their defense, it is a ZTK car at least. So it's a pretty nicely spec'd car, but I mean, obviously $500,000. Come on now. This is a little ridiculous. So the car, it probably has, it doesn't have carbon fiber wheels, so it probably has a $210,000 to $215,000 MSRP. That means they are more than doubling the price of this thing. And what I think is kind of funny, you can actually see an email from the dealership right here where they're talking about the price being $500,000. And then they were like, when would you like to come by and test drive it? Meanwhile, they're not going to let you test drive that. But it's just funny how they jump right into, when do you want to come by? You know, $500,000 is nothing. Come by, buy this thing. But what's even funnier is I went to the dealership website, and this is it. This is their website. And if you look over on the right for the price, it says, call for price and availability. They're so freaking like ashamed of their own price that they won't even put it on the website. I think that's hilarious. You got to call for them to tell you that it's $500,000.
Can you imagine how quick that line hangs up after they say that?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Or do you think they sell it up? They're like, we're going to add on some PPF, and we're going to ceramic coat the whole car,
Nope.
and we're going to give you this new anti-theft device that nobody can steal your car, and it's all included.
I bet they literally don't add one single thing, and they still think.
Oh, you're probably right.
That's how right. They did this same kind of dumb stuff, and actually, it was either it might have been 800 when the C8 Z06s first came out. There was a guy on eBay selling one for $800,000. And
oh my God.
I'll tell you what, obviously I would highly doubt anybody bought that at $800,000, but he had the entire internet talking about him. This dealership, they're doing the same thing. So $500,000 is an absolute ridiculous ripoff, but everybody in the Corvette community, they know about that car and they know what dealership it is. Now there's a thing called, there is no such thing as negative publicity. If that's true, This guy's doing it right. If it's true, I can't say.
Well, if it was negative publicity, they would have just posted the price online, right?
That's true.
When they just posted it, then they could just got all the publicity, and then everybody would have just ran with it.
Maybe they want the traffic through the phone system or something. I don't know.
So my question for everybody on here in the comments, what's the most you would pay for, you could spec it any way you want for a ZR1. What's the most dollar amount if you could have it right now sitting in your driveway with a markup? We're assuming markup, not like MSRP. What's the most you would pay to have that car sitting in your driveway right at this moment? Because I'm just curious what these dealers can actually get. Because there's guys in the comments, obviously, that can work out whatever they want. I'm just curious what the most they would pay for it.
Regardless of what they say in this chat, I know that number to be roughly 100,000 over.
That's the cap. That's why I'm curious, because that seems to be what they're kind of going with. They're trying to test the market, and it seems to be that's where a lot of people are asking is 100K over. Yeah. So is that the number that people in the comments would pay?
So Carlos is saying he'd go 50K over at most, and
we're talking a 2025, not a 26.
Yeah,
like
so
the rare one.
2025, yeah, the super rare car that's probably going to be worth a good bit of money at the end of the day. And actually, we're going to talk about that in a second because I have an official number of how many they've made so far, and it's way less than you think. So, and I'm with Darren here, not 1 cent over MSRP. In fact, I'd like to not even be at MSRP, to be honest with you. I'd like to be a little bit under. Like my C7 ZR1, I was $10,000 under MSRP when I bought that car. Now you can't touch them for, God, they're roughly 100,000 over what I paid for it.
Well, it looks like the consensus is invoice, or not invoice, but MSRP.
All right, Hondo's at 20,000 over. So we got two people in here that would potentially pay over. I mean, you got to remember this is an investment. Yeah. Hot Rod Todd, you won't make money as an investment if you pay 100K over. I think you still would, to be honest with you, if you don't drive it. If you buy this car for 100K over and you park it and put it in a bubble, 10 years from now, it would probably be worth more than the 100K that you paid over. How much more? I don't know.
I think at 50, you're pretty safe to say you're going to make money in the future if you don't drive it. But who wants to do that?
Exactly. Especially in our profession. I mean, mine specifically, where YouTube is my job. I can't buy a car that's good for YouTube and then just let it sit there. I have to drive it. It's got to be driven.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I'm surprised at how many people wouldn't even go $1 over MSRP.
This is a good point. Chris says,
this must be principle.
Chris says, look at the people that paid over MSRP for the Z06. Who would do that now? The people who paid over for the Z06, they paid a lot over. Like I said, there was, whenever that car first came out, I saw example after example of people paying $200,000-$300,000 over for a Z06. Imagine being that guy today, where I'm seeing lightly used Z06s selling for in the 90s.
But the thing is those cars, there's like, they made 25,000 C8s this year, and I don't remember what number, like 6,000 or Z06s or whatever. So think of how many of the Z06s. So yeah, the market saturated. We're talking a 1-year car with a special interior, special 2 colors that are may only get 1 year. We don't know yet. So I think it's a little different scenario than the Z06 for that reason, because of the rarity. And you're about to tell us the numbers, and I have a feeling when you tell us that number, that's even going to make it even more enticing to maybe spend 50 or 100 more.
So Supercar Ranch says he turned an early one down at 50K over, but he would consider 20K over. If I were to ever pay over, which it would have to be a very specific situation, something where I knew I'd make money, I would probably be in the 20 range myself, would be as high as I'd go.
If I had the money and I could get it right now in my driveway, I think 50 would be the number the most that I would pay, but they would have to be something I would sit on. I'm not going to pay 50 over and then drive the car and depreciate it. Like I couldn't, like, my mind wrap around that.
Yep.
But if I'm going to drive the car, I'm not paying a cent over MSRP. I'm going to drive it.
There you go. I think we're all pretty much in agreement on that one. Again, guys, if you wanted to know, this dealership is called FH Daily, and it's in California. I would be very hesitant to do business with a dealership like that in the future. But like I said, in their defense, it is a pretty nice spec. Yellow calipers, yellow paint. If you're a yellow kind of guy, it's got the ZTK package. Looks like it's pretty well optioned out otherwise, but I don't know. I mean, there is definitely a point where this thing's not worth it. And I think right around 500,000 would be it. No, seriously, it's 250. That car's 250 at absolute most, 250 grand.
GM needs to put the scalpel down, and they need to go at them and say, no more allocations for you guys. You're asking $500,000. That's ridiculous.
You
No
know,
more allocations. Sorry. That's the only car you're going to get.
The
Make your
problem with that,
500,000.
Brandon, is we've been saying that exact same thing since the C8 Stingray. And Chevy, they just continuously do not do anything about it, to the point where it tells me one of two things. Either they don't care, or they're on the take. Somehow Chevy gets paid when they pay over MSRP. It's one of those two things. Because if it was anything else, you are a franchisee, okay? You franchise a Chevrolet dealership or whatever from me. I'm Chevy in this example. I can tell you, or I can choose to give you allocations or not. And if I see you doing something like that, yeah, I'm pulling your allocations. I'm going to give it to the guy over here who charges MSRP and sells a lot more cars that way. If they really wanted to stop it, they would have stopped it. So something else is happening here. Maybe I don't understand it fully. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how it works, because something is off.
Well, I think GM views the dealers more as their customer than us as their customer, because that's who they're selling the car to. That's who they're making money on the maintenance and all those things. And they're the ones that are repairing it. So they're getting all this loop of cash, like you said, from the dealer. So, I mean, I guess I could see where they would put them up front, but it's such a disservice to us. It really is.
Hanging with Shane says, tomorrow, news headlines, dealership burnt down. Oh, man, that's good stuff, Shane. Lewis says we need an HPO protest at that dealership. I'll tell you what, I don't know. I know of only one of my subscribers that lives in California, so it would be interesting to see what they would do if you like stormed that dealership. Let's see. Okay, let's talk some numbers about these cars. Again, guys, Porter Throttle Body giveaway happening tonight at the end of the show. Get in on this now. I don't think we got any more entries here. So we are up to 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people have entered. Now, Kevin Reynolds is leading the pack. I misspoke earlier when I said Charles had 51 entries. He actually has 21, not 51. Kevin's leading the pack with 30. So you still can get in there, guys. You could win a $500 Porter Throttle Body for a donation of $10. We've seen it before where the small dog wins. So it's not you, Kevin. So actually, I know 2 people in California. So how far are you from that dealership, though, Kevin? I wonder, did they put the address up there?
What are the odds he'd be close? California's so huge.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy if he was close.
This is in San Leandro. I don't even know where that's at. San Leandro.
Sounds southern. Sounds like it's South
it's
California.
Probably, yeah. I've never even heard of it. I mean, I spend very little time in, actually, I've never even been to California, so. T-Move, Ferrari, Chevy. I don't know. Kevin says I'm between Sacramento and San Francisco. Okay, so I'm gonna have to map to this place. Let's see what it looks like. If we map to San Francisco from this area, looks like it is 40 minutes, 21 miles. It's not too bad.
Nope.
Kevin, you could go out there. Go out there with a picket. We will not pay 500 over. There you go. Yeah.
All right, so how many?
John Perkins says it. Aaron, jump in there with a 10 spot and win this freaking thing. He did it before.
So what's the final number, Justin?
Oh, yeah. So let's look at some numbers here, guys. So since we're talking about the ZR1, I have some numbers for the latest production numbers for July of 2025. So this is most up-to-date number that the Corvette blogger has, at least. And here we go. So 2025 cars. This is how many they've made. 13,144 Stingrays, 7,825 Z06s, 2,886 E-Rays, and 65 ZR1s. 65.
That's crazy.
That's freaking nuts. I mean, they were supposed to make 302, and even at 302, that's nuts. They've made 65. So if you have a 2025 ZR1, Steven, you have a ridiculously rare car, 62.
Or Joe.
It's not even 100.
Joe's is even rarer though.
Yeah, being Seawolf. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Sonic, I guess on here, he made a good point. Remember we were talking earlier about that video, the 4.5 6130 ZR1 where the bird hits the car. I don't know if everybody's seen that on here yet. You don't. They're going so fast that you don't see the bird. You just hear the bird hit the car. I mean, I could barely see it trying to slow.
Well, that's on the dyno, isn't it? That they weren't even driving, right?
No, they were driving. Yeah, no, there's a separate video. I don't know if you haven't seen that.
Oh, I'm
They're actually driving on the road.
Okay.
No, there's another video. Maybe somebody can post on the comments there. But they're actually driving down the road doing it 6130. They start at 20 miles an hour. They mat it. You can see tractions like it's breaking loose. Like I think probably second, third. Looks like it right as it hits 60, it starts to hook up, and then it does right at 120 miles an hour. You just hear a big boom, and you can't really see it. You have to watch it multiple times. But a bird is flying at it, and it hits a bird. I don't know where it hits. I think it's the hood. Maybe it sounded like the hood.
Oh, okay.
Hits the hood and flies off the car, and then they let out, and it's a 4.5, 60 to 130 time. Just rocking. It's a competition yellow ZR1.
Yeah, that's the one they had on the dyno. I was looking at the dyno video. I watched every second of it. I was like, I do not see a bird. What is he talking about?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different video. It's on Corvette Blogger had the post that was the link to the video, but that's where I saw it at.
I was kind of hoping that it got sucked into the turbo or something.
Oh no. But you hear it hit. I wonder if it did damage though, because of how loud the sound was on the PDR. It sounded like it probably scratched it.
One of the very first drives I took in my C701, super clean black car. I was just driving normally, like maybe 40 miles an hour, and a bird just flew right into the front. It bounced off the hood and ended up in some guy's yard. And I remember thinking that was weird. And then it was like 2 weeks later, I'm driving along, and a bird again flies right in front of the car and just disappears. And I'm like, that was weird too. But then I park later, and it's alive, standing inside of my grill area where the radiator's at, and it couldn't get out because it forced its way through, but couldn't come back out. I'm like, I'm gonna have to tear the bumper off this thing to get this bird out. I don't know what it is about a shiny black car, but the birds it's like they don't see it.
What happened? What was the conclusion of that? Did it just come out on its own, or what?
Leave
it alone.
The C701 has 3 grills in the front and then a pretty big opening at the bottom that has no grill at all. I was able to get my arm in there and grab the bird and pull it out.
Oh.
But like,
I guess so.
If that had been a Z06 where there's no opening like that, you're taking the bumper off or you're removing that bird in pieces.
It's a really cool video to watch, that 60 to 130, because of the fact that it still gets that time and it's losing traction almost all the way up until the point that 60 timer hits and it starts. It's still trying to break loose. The car's that fast. And it wasn't like it was at night. It was during the day. I didn't see the DA because the way they posted it scrolls down. The draggy, it's like a valid draggy post, and it scrolls down 20 the times, but it doesn't show the DA. It gets cut off. So I don't know what the DA was, but it's during the day. So it's probably, not super optimal just because the sun's out and there's obviously heat. So.
It's interesting though, because the cars that the only car that's even close to as fast, 60 to 130, as the C8 ZR1 is the Plaid, the Model S Plaid. It's at 4.
And mine's slower. Mine. I think the 21s and the 22s were the faster the Plaids for whatever reason. I know the newer ones they're a little heavier. They added like 30 pounds, so they're a little slower. But mine's like over 5 now with some miles on it. Like I'm lucky to get a 5.5 60 to 130 now with my Plaid, but I'm on Goodyear all seasons and I haven't done a lot of drag mode and optimize it. But I'm consistently a 5.5.
How many miles
or
do you have
older too? 60,000 miles on it. So, and
so as your battery dies, you lose a little bit of that power. But this list over here is pretty impressive. I mean, number one, the ZR1 did 60 to 130 in 4.49 seconds, which is by itself just insane. But when you look at the list of cars it's beating, the Lamborghini Revolto does it in 5 to 5.2, SF90 4.8 to 5.0, the 911 Turbo S, which is an incredibly fast car, 5.2 to 5.5. McLaren P1, 5.5 to 5.7. Even the Porsche Taycan Turbo, 5.8 to 6. This is the C8Z06. This says 6.5 to 7. Which, Brandon, what have you been getting?
On my Z06,
Yeah.
I've got a 626 on the motor, and I've got a 617 on the nights before I got really light. Those are my best 2 times that I've got.
So because you're lighter weight, you could possibly get that down to 6. Even at 6, the ZR1 is over a full second faster.
Well, not only that, I'm doing that in October, like winter air. He's doing that in 4.5 in summer air.
That's true.
And these cars, I don't know when they're doing it, but I'm guessing probably in like hero air, which is when I usually try to do it, is like when the air is great. And so that 4.5, I think it's going to be quicker. I think it's going to be like 4.0 when we get into October and November. And it's like, if you can hook it down, you know, if you can get it to hook, I think it's going to be even quicker than that. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, if you put a set of drag radials on that or something.
Yes, drag radials, you know, roads like 50 something degrees, the air being close to that, it's gonna scoot.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, when I first saw their 0 to 6 or their 60 to 130, I don't remember who posted it, but I remember I sent it to you. It was in the like mid 5s, and I remember saying, if they get this thing to the point where it's, you know, number one, it's catching traction, but number two, more importantly, the person's familiar with the car and feels comfortable staying in it, they're going to get this down to a high 4, I bet. And then this came out at a mid 4, and I'm like, Jesus. And we're still not, like, the car hasn't even been out long enough for people to actually be comfortable with it yet. So these numbers are definitely going to get lower, and that's the crazy part.
Wait till they put anti-gravity batteries.
Yeah,
they put lightweight. You know,
Steven bought an anti-gravity battery for his car. He used my.
They're going to really. I wouldn't be surprised if these things see a 3.9 or something, which is insane with weight loss. Obviously not stock, but just the fact that you could probably do nothing to the motor at all and just drop a little weight and see into the 3s, which is insane.
Yeah, I don't know. It is wild. Chopper Larry says there's a new law in Florida that if you get caught over 50 or 100, 50 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour over the posted speed limit, that you're going to jail. That is true, Chopper Larry, unless we talk to your wife about it. She told me she'd help me out.
I'm assuming she's a lawyer, right?
No, she's a cop down there.
Oh, she is. Okay.
If I get busted doing anything in Florida, my first phone call is to her.
I think Georgia has some weird laws like that, and it's a little bit lower in the numbers, but I think they have discretion on whether they can do it or not. I think they can impound your car and do a few things.
In Pennsylvania, it's if you're doubling the speed limit, they can impound a car. Doubling. Oh, so, I mean, if you're going 70 miles an hour in a 35, they can impound your car.
That's not cool.
No, it's not cool.
I feel like that happens a lot.
It does happen a lot. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, yeah. So, not that this should surprise anybody, but some distribution guide updates came out, and wouldn't you know it, that visible carbon fiber is still on constraint. Yes, we're going on 6 years into the model of the C8 Corvette, and visible carbon fiber is still reportedly not available at this time. So somehow, after all of this time, now here's one thing, and Brian, I don't know, you might know this too. I don't know if you ever looked into it for like the C6 or the C7. I don't recall ever seeing a constraint on carbon fiber for the C6 or the C7. Now, the C7 ZR1 has a lot of carbon fiber on it. So I've heard people say, well, there wasn't as much carbon fiber then. There was still a lot. And I don't remember once hearing that there was a constraint on carbon fiber for the C7. So why is this such a problem? Why are we still, six model years in on this, still having a problem with carbon fiber?
Yeah, I don't remember anything, but I wasn't shopping for new. I was always shopping for used during those years. So I can't say for sure, but I don't remember ever seeing anything on the forums about like constraints and that stuff.
Yep.
I felt like you could pretty much get what you wanted. I think you were right on that, if I remember correctly.
I never once saw a constraint. And I looked, I was looking realistically the second the C7 Stingray came out. I wanted to buy one of those. There wasn't a lot of carbon fiber as an option on the Stingray, but there still was some. You could get it on the dashboard, I believe, and I think that was it. But then the C7 Z06 came out. You had it on the dashboard, the side skirts, the front splitter, the seats, if you got competition seats. Then the ZR1, which has it, the whole hood on the ZR1, even on the underside, is carbon fiber. On the top, it's carbon fiber. The front splitter, the canards, the side skirts, the big wing, the roof, the interior, the dash surround, the competition seat in bezels. You could get all of this stuff in carbon fiber, and it was never a constraint item.
Well, also around that time, wasn't carbon flash kind of became like super popular,
Yeah.
and black wheels were really popular. I feel like people kind of gravitated more towards like the carbon flash during those years because it was kind of like the new and cool thing. I don't feel like in my mind, I could be misremembering. I feel like it wasn't as popular.
You might be right, but the problem with that is that even if it was carbon flash, it was still carbon fiber underneath. And
yeah, true.
These problems with getting carbon fiber is not limited to just visible carbon fiber. It is a problem even with carbon flash because underneath there is still carbon fiber. They just paint over it with carbon flash to hide any imperfections in that particular piece, apparently. Shane says carbon fiber has gotten significantly more popular across the board, though, through many car brands. So I'm wondering if it's just a manufacturing issue with keeping up with overall demand. It's possible. The only other thing I can think of is I don't think GM works with Debotech anymore, and that's who made the carbon fiber for the C7 Corvette. If they don't work with them anymore, that could be the problem. Maybe Debotech was able to keep up with the demand more so. I mean, there is more carbon fiber on the C8 now than there was on the C7. That's a no-brainer. But that's not to say that there was none on the C7, because there definitely was. And yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy that 6 years into this, Chevy hasn't just said, you know what, I'm done with this. Let's just make this stuff in-house. Like, that would fix the problem.
Maybe nobody wants GM's contract. Maybe they're like underpaying.
They are underpaying
fiber manufacturers.
I've heard that.
They don't want it. Like, they're like, no, we can make more selling to Joe and John aftermarket than we can like dealing with your contract. I don't know.
I've
that
heard
is
that.
interesting that Debotech because that's a huge company, right? Like they're massive. Right? Aren't they in Texas? I think it's a
North
Texas-based company. North Carolina. Oh, that's right, North Carolina.
Steven says GM is literally shooting themselves in the foot. At this point, they should understand how many pieces they can get per year. Suppliers can only build so much. GM needs to calibrate. And that's the big thing. The second they announced the 2020 Stingray, literally, the very first car, one of the very first cars that I knew that was delivered was in March of 2020. He got, by the skin of his teeth, managed to get the carbon fiber 5VM package. That was the only one I ever saw that was official from GM. The day that car was available, 5VM package wasn't. And all that was a splitter and side skirts. And that was not available in carbon fiber. Couldn't get it. And it's like, you just brought out this brand new model, mid-engine Corvette that everybody's been waiting for forever, and you can't get a carbon fiber part on it. It's wild that this is even a thing. It's because of that kind of stuff that Racing Sport Concepts and all these other companies, that they exist. Because, I mean, if you could get all the carbon fiber you wanted from GM, odds are good you would. You'd build it into that package so it's all, built into your loan and all that stuff versus buying it outright. So, with that said, I'm sure people like Bill from RC and, all these other websites, they're probably okay with the fact that GM can't do it, but at the same time, it's really dumb. And I've talked to a lot of aftermarket carbon fiber manufacturers that would prefer not to work with GM because apparently they do shoot really low on price, but demand really high quality. So,
well, did you see where BMW is doing that natural carbon fiber now? I wonder how that's going to be like from a demand perspective. So they're coming out with like it's like some kind of natural fiber think it's maybe like plant-based or something
Oh,
that they're going to use on their cars. It looks weird when you look at the pictures of it. It doesn't look like your traditional carbon fiber, obviously, but it's a natural, organic. I think it's like plant-based, some sort carbon fiber. It's obviously not, the carbon part because it's natural, but they found a way to manufacture it using a different material, which is going to be kind of interesting to see how that works in the future. It's just on BMWs from what I saw. Yeah.
Steven says if they haven't already, they should fire whoever is in charge of forecasting. At this point, especially, like I said, we're 6 years into this. Yeah, something needs to change. Whatever the problem is, you need to figure out what that issue is and fix it, because this is just insane. Yes, save the carbon fiber beast. It is endangered. It's not endangered. It's just consistently on constraint. Let me see.
And plus, I feel like going back to that, the market, I feel like we're a lot more obsessed with carbon fiber, like in general, car guys, even just racers and stuff. In the past, you'd buy Kirky seats that are aluminum. You would just try to get some lightweight aluminum because it was cheap. But now I feel like across the board, the demand is just exponential.
Yeah.
Just everybody wants it for everything from like building a go-kart to like go-kart seats.
So light.
Everybody wants it. Yeah,
it's so
everybody
light.
wants it.
And like obviously we already know this. It's lightweight and it's either
strong for density.
Yeah. It's relatively. If you make a piece of aluminum this thick and you make a piece of carbon fiber the same thickness, the carbon fiber is just as strong, if not stronger. I can't remember exactly where it's at, but it's very strong for its weight. And so, yeah, you can make a go-kart out of carbon fiber because it doesn't need to be like, crash test rated or anything. So you want lightweight when you're putting a tiny motor on a car like that or on a go-kart. But what they're using it for now, and this is where, when we were talking earlier about where do you go from 1250 horsepower, this is where you go. You go more carbon fiber, but you better figure out the freaking supplier issue first, because if you're going more carbon fiber like they did with the C8 ZR1, which I was literally present during the conversation about, I think it was Josh Holder. Somebody asked him, you guys are having issues with getting carbon fiber. How is it that you're going to make a bunch of carbon fiber parts standard on the ZR1 and that's not going to affect the car's overall availability? And he said, we figured that out. No, you didn't. You made 62 of those cars because you haven't figured it out. The carbon fiber is a problem and it's standard on that car. So yeah, you don't necessarily have the big wing standard on the car, but you have the boomerang, you have the rear hatch on a coupe, you have the roof, and you have the splitter. On the ZTK cars, you get the dive planes and the big wing, but oh man, it's frustrating.
Hey, did you see Steven's comment, Justin, about the carbon fiber in Europe potentially banning it? I wonder why. Is there something carcinogenic, or what's the reason why they would ban?
Yeah, I wonder.
Carbon fiber.
Testing the same.
That is
thing.
interesting. I guess they must be copying BMW.
The only thing I could think is I know obviously the like if you drill or cut it, the the dust that's in the air, it's really not good for you. But neither is fiberglass, and I mean it's the same kind of thing. I can't see a reason why they would ban it otherwise.
I guess that's why BMW must be going to that. I can't imagine this flax or whatever, this organic composite that they're going to use is going to be cheap, but who knows?
Yeah, it seems like none of it's going to be cheap. But anyway, I want to mention real quick, guys, I know we're on a little bit of a carbon fiber tangent, but if you haven't seen this video yet, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, Brandon, the C8 Corvette Stingray meets the Mustang Darkhorse on the U-Drag setup. It is hysterical how badly the C8 beats this thing. And everybody was all over this Darkhorse, like being like Mustangs finally got an answer for these faster cars. It is horrifically slow. And like
it can't get off the line.
It can't get off the line. Awful. And even after it gets off the line, it can't even begin to make up the missed space between the two cars. Like, it's awful. And I mean, you're talking about a C8 Stingray that's been out for 6 years now.
It looked like they didn't even start at the same time. It looked like the Stingray got the go like 10 seconds prior to the Mustang even moving. That's how bad it was. It was awful.
It's not good. Yeah.
As far as like It was probably out. It looked like it was out at least 300 feet or something before the Mustang even started moving. It was crazy, like how much of a difference it was.
It's really interesting because if you are a Mustang guy, this is not a great time to be a Mustang guy outside of the GTD, of course. This was sad. I was honestly expecting when I saw this video pop up, I was like, wow, I'm surprised Corvette Blogger would put that up there because I figured the Mustang would beat it. I really did. I figured it would beat it. And then I looked at that and I was like, good God.
I thought it'd be close.
It got smacked around like I've never seen a beating worse.
Well, also that Darkhorse is. I'm not a huge fan personally. I mean, don't get me started on it, but
Yeah.
I think it's porky. I don't think it brakes well, and it doesn't.
No.
Seems like the prior generation, honestly, Mustang was better than this Darkhorse. It just seems like a very porky car. What do they weigh? They're like over. Aren't they like 40,
they're near
pounds
4
or 4,400 pounds somewhere?
No, they're. I think it's under 4.
They're not that heavy.
I don't think
Is
so.
it?
Let me
Okay.
check though.
I guess it had to be because
yeah, it's right under 4.
The Challenger was about that. It is
39.49. And I mean, I will give Mustang one thing, that they were selling the Darkhorses with an optional manual transmission. I like when companies offer that because the manual is just one of those things that is going, whether it's slower or not, it doesn't matter. It's going to live on forever because people like to drive their cars that way. So certain Mustangs that were doing it still, I noticed there was some Porsches that were doing it. I like that. And if it means you have a slightly slower car, fine. But this wasn't slightly slower. This was significantly slower. And it wasn't even a manual they were testing. So there's no real excuse for this. And I know when the car came out initially, people were paying way over for it, of course, because whenever the things first came out, they're hard to get. And even if you weren't, they were right around $90,000, like decently optioned. 90 grand for a car that went straight to the dyno and put down 390 horsepower on a dyno. Like, how do you call it a Mustang and then put down 390 on it? It just, the only way to make that car worthwhile is you have to put some sort of forced induction on it. And apparently, I've read online that when you do that, supercharged, turbocharged, no, that it handles it pretty well from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, that's fine. But now you're 150 grand in, into a car that no longer has warranty.
Did you see this week they posted the BMW M2? I think took the, I don't know if it's sedan or what class, that record, like 725.
Yeah, it's like
and
the
then
C6.
somebody made a post.
Yeah, the C6
the C6 did that like 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Did that.
Well, see that was my
13 years
argument.
ago.
That was my argument with the Mustang GTD. The GTD is set up identically to a C7 Corvette. It's front engine, transaxle in the rear to split 50-50-ish weight distribution. Horsepower-wise, the car was very similar to a C7 ZR1, which, according to Jim Merrow, can do the Nurburgring in 6 minutes and 55 seconds. And what was the best time the GTD got? Was it 6:57?
Well, they went back and they got a sub 6, but I don't remember. That wasn't a factory car, right? Like that was somebody else that did that. I know it's been a little quicker than I thought. Into the 40s on a repeat.
It was 6:57, okay. And then it was 6:52. So
that's right. Okay.
6:52 is pretty good. That's great. You beat the ZR1 by 3 seconds 7 years later, and for roughly $200,000 more.
And GM was doing this transaxle setup
since the C5.
I don't know. Yeah.
Or maybe the C4. I don't remember if the C4 did it.
No, C5. Yeah. So at least it's in 97. So we're looking at like 25. Yeah. Over 25 years, 28 years or something.
And
they've been doing that.
It's one of those things where I'm okay with if you can't beat them, join them kind of mentality. But that's fine. But at the same time, don't run around touting that you have the fastest this, fastest that, when all you did was literally copy the C7 setup and you barely beat the time. Like the first time they gave you the 6:57, that was 2 seconds slower than the C7 ZR1 did. And you're doing it for $200,000 or $300,000 more. Like, no. But 6:52, that's a respectable time. Don't get me wrong. It's a respectable time. Yeah. The car's pretty cool. But it is way overpriced, and it's doing things that Chevy has been doing for a decent amount of time now. Let me see if we have anything.
Does Ford have it? I don't think Ford has anything right now that the GTD is not even. I don't even think it's on the same planet as the ZR1, in my opinion.
No.
And a ZR1X, like they've got a lot of ground to cover here. And Chrysler, they're 5 years behind, even trying to beat a Stingray right now.
Yeah.
They can't beat a Stingray. They're 5 years away.
They're
even
never,
if they bring back,
they're never going to do it. The closest they have to, the closest thing they have to beating the Stingray would probably be a freaking Ram TRX.
Honestly, you're probably right. I mean, that really right now, if you just looked at it, yeah, probably.
So let's see. I don't think we got any more entries, guys. So we literally are going to be giving away a throttle body to 5 entries. That's crazy. One other thing I did want to talk about, and this was brought up over at the Mid-Engine Corvette forum, is that General Motors has delivered 5,800 basically new Corvettes during the second quarter of 2025. So 5,801 Corvettes have been delivered for 2025, and apparently this was something that I didn't know. These numbers are down, but they did it on purpose. So GM literally built less cars for the second quarter here because of the fact that these things are starting to pile up at dealerships now. Where did I see that here? Yeah. While we were expecting to see some of the headlines addressing the sales decline, the real story is that it was planned. During the first and second quarters of 2025, the Corvette assembly plant had several weeks of closures for reworking the assembly line to better accommodate the wide body models over the long-standing Stingrays, which became stagnant on dealer lots. Since that work was done, GM is now prioritizing the higher priced Z06s, and in fact, it usually builds more Z06s than Stingrays daily, as the online C8 trackers have shown. So this 5,800 that has been delivered for the second quarter, that's down, and apparently they did it on purpose. And that's not necessarily a terrible thing, because the less they make of these things, the better they hold their value. So hopefully they learned something from this with the ZR1. But yeah, all right, guys. I think we're going to start wrapping this thing up. I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. We got 2 minutes to get in on this solar performance throttle body giveaway. Ported throttle body for a C6, C7, C8 up to an E-Ray. $10 as an entry, $50 or more as double entries. You could win a ported throttle body, which is worth roughly $500 for an entry of $10. So get in on this while you guys still can. I'm going to be entering these names into a wheel here in a second, and someone's going to win this tonight. So if you want to possibly win a ported throttle body, now's your time. Otherwise, you're paying $500 for it.
I'm surprised there's not more C7 Z06 guys in here wanting to jump in on this.
I have one.
I
have one that I'm going to be getting for my C7 ZR1 here in a little bit. That is 103 millimeter.
Oh dang! What's your factory on that car?
95.
95. Oh, that's a big. I will say, at least my experience with the TRX, they do like.
Yeah, they like air.
That bigger inlet diameter. They really do. It responds on the forced induction stuff really well. I feel like.
Brad says, who has the least number of entries? Kevin Horan has 2. So we'll see. If he wins, maybe Brad's onto something here.
I see a bunch of ones popping up.
I know. We're not doing membership giveaways. We will do that at probably week 3, which will be a throttle controller. So week 3, you will get a free entry on that. Not tonight, though. Now, remember, guys, if you enter to win this throttle body and you don't win, I will keep your name in the list for the end of the month when I run the giveaway for that rear window setup from 8-List Design. So even if you're not entering specifically for that, you still will be entered for it if you don't win the throttle body or throttle controller over the next 3 weeks.
All right, I'm pulling for Kevin.
All right, so that's going to be that. Let me see. Nobody additional entered, so let me set up the wheel here.
And you saw the Honda 06 entry, right? You saw that?
Did I?
I thought I saw it pop up. It said $999 Honda 06. You saw that one, right?
No, I didn't.
I'm assuming that's what he put it in there for.
Thank you for putting that out there. I did not see that one. So he gets 1 entry. I didn't even see that one come in, so thanks for looking out. All right, so I'm entering this in the wheel now. Who do we get? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries now. 5. Man, this is going to be a big one. All right, so Charles is in at 21. John Perkins is in at 10. Kevin Horan is 2. Kevin Reynolds is 30. And Hondo is 1. All right.
All right. I'm pulling for the underdog. Come on, Hondo. Go, Hondo. I'm pulling for you, man.
Guys, smash the thumbs up button while you're at it. Here we go with the wheel.
He's going to pull a C8 and 8 right here. All
right, so this is the wheel setup. I'm going to go up to the top here and hit shuffle a couple times. It just moves the names around. And that looks good right there. And here we go. Spin.
Oh, man, it's not looking good for you, Hondo. Sorry. The box is pretty small. Let's see here. Come on, Hondo. Oh, it might be Hondo. It might be Hondo. Oh, almost.
Looks like it's Perkins.
He was close.
Yeah. All right, John Perkins. That's awesome. I'm pretty sure. I don't think John has gotten a ported throttle body, so now he just won one, and I think he only put $50 in. And John Perkins said that he was pulling for John. Well, you pulled right because you won, John. John, just send me an email. I need your shipping address and your email address and stuff, and they'll hook you up. So just shoot me an email. Horsepower Obsessed. Congratulations, John. But yeah, small box. Thanks, Brandon. Hey, look at that, John.
Sorry.
All right, yeah, just shoot me an email, John, and congrats. Thanks for the support tonight, guys. We will see you same time, same place next Monday night. We'll be giving away a throttle controller next Monday night. So see you then. See ya.
See you guys.
Stay obsessed.
That too.